I turned my phone into a delegation and thinking machine, but it came through a lot of struggle, actually being addicted to this little crazy device. Now, a few years ago, I spent an afternoon with someone I met through a mutual friend. He was a high school teacher from the UK, deeply interested in history, which made the conversation easy and very rich. Now, at some point, he pulled out his phone and I had to laugh because it looked like it came out of his history class because it was ancient. It was one of these early models from the time when simply owning a phone felt kind of futuristic. You know, the calls worked and texting worked, but texting meant pressing the same button 3 times to just get one letter. Now, I asked him why he still used that old phone, and he said he didn't want to be distracted. He didn't need more, so he chose to never own a smartphone. Now, I felt an uncomfortable mix of admiration and envy. At that time, I was kind of glued to my phone. I kind of checked it constantly. You know, I'd been one of these early guys who had a BlackBerry, proud of the speed, proud of being reachable all the time, all that nonsense, always available, always responding, always on, because that was the thing to be. But somewhere along the way, I noticed basically there was a deep cost to it. My attention suffered. The ability to be present suffered. The presence is something I value deeply, both for my mental health actually, and also for the people around me, for my family. So briefly, I flirted with the idea of doing what he did. No smartphones, total simplicity. But actually, that does not work as a business owner. We cannot just disappear from that kind of communication, at least I can't. So instead of removing the phone, I redesigned very intentionally my relationship with my phone. I stopped treating it as an attention device and turned it into a tool for delegation and for thinking. And so I want to quickly go through 12 ways I now use my phone as a business owner so it serves me instead of it quietly training me to be distracted. Okay, so these are my rules. Rule number 1, social media is removed or physically blocked. I don't try to use social media less on my phone because I'm just an addicted personality. So that approach fails because it relies on my willpower. Instead, I just removed it. I don't have social media apps on my phone with one exception, and that is basically the YouTube app. And even with YouTube, it's dangerous because they have these shorts and this dopamine is a vertical format kind of hitting you over and over again. So I chose to never watch shorts again. So I tried every blocking app, none worked long term. Now, what did work was a physical device that literally lets you break parts of your phone. If I want access to a certain apps, websites, I have to physically walk over to another room and basically unlock my phone. It's called Brick. I love that app because before I was checking emails, I was checking news, I was checking investment portfolios, my cryptocurrencies far more often than actually made any rational sense, especially given I kind of follow the long term buy and hold kind of strategy. I'm not a trader. So those checkings weren't information seeking. They were easier than doing the important work that I had to be doing in that moment. Now those habits are gone, not because I'm stronger now, but because my system is better, because I have a brick and basically there's no social media on there. So rule number 2, I don't use email on my phone because from social media, basically it turned to email. Email hijacked my attention for a very, very long time. And if I'm honest, I was addicted to checking the emails dozens of times a day, always chasing kind of the new little rush. I wanted to break out of that completely and not be basically distracted from thinking that maybe I get a nice new message, maybe there's a nice new deal, or maybe I get another sale coming in. And now the only way I was able to do that was actually giving all of my email completely over to my executive assistant. So I don't do email anymore. She checks it a few times a day and lets me know if something is urgent, which rarely happens. But I still have that basically insurance plan that she can check it. So just knowing someone is monitoring your email gives me basically real peace of mind. Rule number 3, I used 2 phone numbers. Now I have one number for my family and one for business and actually friends. This is so obvious, but it's still basically a game changer because my family, and that was always my problem. I wanted that my family reaches me. I wanted if something is going on with my kids and my wife wants to call me, she can reach me. And so I left WhatsApp up, and that just kind of was kind of the slippery slope for me. So what I basically did is I have now a private number that is always on, and only my assistant has that, and basically my family, and they can reach me at any point if there's something urgent. But then when it comes to the other stuff, I'm basically making the calls when I'm checking it and when I'm not checking it. And so WhatsApp Business is basically another number, and it does not interrupt me. Rule number 4, and it's not even on my phone, but also basically just knowing that my family can call me and I can unmute the other one is really helpful. Now, rule number 4 is I delegate by speaking, not typing. When something comes to mind that I need to get done, I don't normally write it down. I press a button on my phone and I just start speaking. And now my phone records then my voice. AI cleans it up and structures and makes it nice, and then it goes directly into the task system of my executive assistant or my operational manager to take care of that task. And that means delegation happens immediately in context without any frictions. I don't collect tasks, basically. I try to hand them over. This idea from getting things done to always only touch things once, also even a thought, a delegation thing, touch it once and then move it on. Rule number 5, I don't answer any unscheduled calls. I almost never answer calls that aren't scheduled. And not because I'm so important, but because thinking really requires a protection. If I don't know the number, I don't even call back and I never answer. If I do know the number, my executive assistant checks what it's about and then schedules a time if that is needed, or gives the answer that that person needed or wanted. So sometimes I answer only when I basically want to, if somebody that I want to reach out first and couldn't reach me, then they basically maybe call me back, and then that's when I answer, but otherwise it goes on the calendar. This rule trains people that they always get an answer, but I am not basically interruptible. Clients know how to reach me and what to expect, and that clarity prevents frustration on both sides. People don't guess, they don't keep trying, they kind of know the system. I always get back to people, just not immediately and not just always personally, if someone from my team can actually handle that situation. Rule number 6, learning apps are always allowed and always on. I allow access to learning apps, audiobooks, courses. I intentionally buy podcasts, and that's what I use when I'm walking, when I'm driving, when I'm at the gym. The rule isn't less content, the rule is chosen content. So where social media is just kind of hijacks our and shows us whatever the algorithm wants to show us, I choose my content. So passive consumption is basically removed. I don't scroll randomly. Intentionally learning basically stays. Rule number 7. ChatGPT and Perplexity are never blocked. These are 2 apps that are always accessible for me. I use them to refine ideas, to actually research topics and think through even decisions that I have to make or tough conversations I'm going to have. I don't ask generic questions. I use them as thinking partners. Now, without the right process, they give shallow or even bad answers, average answers. With the right setup, and with the right training, it will help you sharpen your own thinking if you use them correctly. Rule number 8, I use my phone to think, not to consume. So I record thoughts constantly. I use audio pen to speak basically these messy ideas into audio pen, into that app, and then basically I get back a structured output. Speaking removes basically frictions for me, and so perfectionism is not hindering me. And then there is real editing that is happening. AI basically is then taking over. This script was started this way. Most of my stories, most of my content starts with me just rambling some thoughts out. And then I use Brain FM with a kind of a noise cancellation whenever I work in cafes, in gyms, and in hotels. Same focus everywhere, because I can concentrate, because I don't let the environment decide my output. Rule number 9, every to-do must land somewhere immediately. Now, I don't trust I will remember it later. I need to capture things immediately. There needs to be one tab on my phone, one destination. So personal to-do goes on one list. So there's one click I can do and it's on my list. Now, notes that I want to discuss with my staff in our next one-on-one meeting goes into a list with their name. Delegation basically is straight into the system. So it really is not sorting later. It's really mental clarity, because I have this idea that I need to capture and I need to delegate it and need to put it into a to-do list, and it's happening right away. Rule number 10, I keep all essential documents accessible on my phone. That's not about working just on my phone all the time. It's about being kind of that I'm not blocked when I work, and then I kind of am frustrated because I work on the move. I work at different places. I love the variety of things. I basically want to make sure I'm always be able to work from anywhere, and because the most basically dangerous excuse is I'll do that later when I'm back on my computer and my desk when I actually have access to it. So what I hate most is being in the middle of real work and having to stop because I have to research or background. I need some background information, and it isn't available, but it's on basically just on my iMac. Rule number 11, I don't write long emails, I record them. Now, I'm not in charge of my inbox, my executive assistant is, but when a message needs a longer or more personal response from me, I record an audio message on my phone, and my assistant basically then sends it out. The app I use is called Vocal. It's faster for me, it's I think more human. The tone and the tonality carries context that text often loses or misunderstands, so that's why I like to use it that way. Rule number 12, the last rule, my phone has to support my inner life. I believe that we are not just human doers, we are human beings, and so we basically have to have ways to actually make sure we take care, as business owners, take care of our inner life. So there are two apps on my phone that I use intentionally for, one is for emotional health and the other one is for spiritual health. The one for emotional health is the Wim Hof app. I use it a few times a week for guided breathing exercises. Beyond the physical side, it really helps regulate kind of my nervous system when I'm stressed, overwhelmed, or stuck in my head. Over breathing, and I love the Wim Hof breathing exercise, but you could use other exercises as well to reset emotionally and get back into my body instead of spinning basically in my thoughts all the time. So that's app number 1 I use. And app number 2, the second app for my spiritual health, is called Centering Prayer. I support it's kind of a Christian form of meditation. It's very simple. Basically, I sit in silence and let my thoughts come and go and do not engage with them. There's basically a gentle structure, but the point is not effort, the point is presence. And so for me, this is kind of prayer. At the same time, it clears also my head. And so this breathing and silent prayer are not optional basically in my life. They're part of even me thinking that if I want to perform on the highest level as a business owner, I need to have my inner life basically in a healthy place. So my phone didn't become helpful basically by accident. I really designed it to be. Every app I allow is basically a vote for the kind of business owner I want to be. And so distracted operator or deliberate architect. And I am choosing the deliberate architect. So my question is, how is your phone working for you? Is it helping you in what you are trying to achieve? How can you design that kind of relationship with your phone so it's basically not the phone deciding and dictating how you live, but the other way around? Because the phone is an unbelievable tool as a business owner if we are the ones who are designing it, if we are the ones who are actually using it, and we are not the ones used by it. If you want more videos on how to build a self-managing business, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. But this is basically how, at this point of my moment, I am using my phone so I can think better and I can delegate better.